fans from all around the globe. I'm your host, Jeff Dawson, CEO, founder of East Coast Sports Investors, and this is your breakfast bankroll. From Cape Cod to Cancun, from Tampa to Taipei, from Vegas to the Vatican, we got you covered from start to finish. Overnight openers, sharps, public, contrarian, you name it, we got it. We're going to cover a lot of things quickly today so we can get you up to speed for the high noon NCAA kickoff and potentially be back later this afternoon, myself and Scott. But without further ado, my co-host from the Palm Tree States himself, Mr. Scott E. Webb. Scotty, my brother, what is happening?
Hey, morning, Jeff. How you doing this morning?
You know, it's been a crazy couple weeks here. A lot of stuff going on behind the scenes. We'll talk later. Big stuff brewing. Couldn't be happier, couldn't be prouder of our team, our staff, our family here. Good stuff on the way, which we will break when ready, obviously. I'm just going to start the show with this. One hell of a run by the Boston Red Sox, a team that no one at the start of the season hadn't go anywhere. Yourself, though, had the over. You know, you were on to them early. Great start to the year, and then, quote unquote, they lost the trade deadline. They go from first to getting passed by Tampa and the Yankees, and in late September, Toronto right there on their backs with Seattle as well. Get into the one-game playoff, beat the Yankees as underdogs, then get into a Tampa series with your Rays, lose the first game, huge underdogs from there on out, win the next three, then go to Houston, get smoked the first game, win the next two, and then, as I stated here on the show, you know, I won't call them Sox Nation because I'll call them the Sox Nation bandwagon guys, up 2-1, smashing the ball. The series was over, duck boats, champagne, we're getting ready for the World Series, wins the parade, and Houston, who's been here now 5 straight years, said not so fast, and took care of business in games 4-5 and closed it out yesterday. Thoughts on the series, thoughts on the Sox for the year, just thoughts in general, Scotty.
Well, American League East was fun, right? I mean, we got the Red Sox who outplayed what they were supposed to be doing this season. I think they had a great year. I think that the GM there that you got from the Rays, came from the Rays. I think he did a really good job, and I think Cora put a really good foundation around that. So, you got an outfielder, can't even think of his name off the top of my head, but he hits 30 home runs and drives in 100 runs this year, and you got him for Nichols, Renfroe. So, the deal that everybody complained about with Mookie Betts, and how great a player Mookie Betts is, and no one's taken that away. But Verdugo, he had a good year. They did some things to get through with their pitching. Pivetta was a big addition. So as you look at it, they didn't have Sale all year, and then when Sale came back, he was good, but he wasn't the Chris Sale that we all know, except for the one game that at the end he threw 98 miles an hour, still got lost, but at least he had his velocity back. So I think that team, and Schwarber was a good addition to that team. I just think there's a lot of things that they did well. I think that they got more out of the pitchers this year, and I knew they would do that. But if you remember right, back when it all started, Garrett Richards was in that lineup, and he was pitching, and he was doing okay for a little while, but that's all they needed. They just needed to get through a certain number of innings with some of these guys. and be competitive. It's the bats. It's always been about the bats with this team, this bunch. So you put some pitchers around this group, and I think that they're going to be here for a while, right? So I think that Houck showed some promise. I think he was one of the kids that looks like he might be there for a little while. And then we talked about the Yankees all the time. You know, the Yankees were there at the beginning of the season, and then they just never put anything together. They ran into some injury trouble. They ran into some pitching problems. But it wasn't the pitching that dropped the Yankees. They couldn't hit the damn ball. So they go out and make these deals to get these guys in there, but they're the wrong guys. You can't go decide that you're going to get all these power hitters that strike out all the time, and then you're going to tell me that you're going to put a good team together. They got to have correlation. One player needs to correlate his assets to the next guy, and then the next guy is going to drive them in. And Judge and Stanton both had decent seasons. I mean, they both hit almost 40 home runs apiece. So that was interesting. And then the Blue Jays, right? We talked about the Blue Jays. They were sort of my silent type team. That if they got a pitcher, they were going to be pretty good. They didn't get the guy they needed to get, but they got a pretty good one. Barrios, and as they continue next year, I haven't obviously done my procrastinations for next year and all that stuff, but I think that they're going to be a team to be reckoned with because they got offense. And in this league today, you got to have pitching, but you really better have offense, and especially in the American League East, you better have offense. So it was I think a great American League East run. The American League Central was all White Sox, and the American League West was basically all Astros. The A's faded away and never really were there most of the season and all the time. The Angels, Mike Trout got hurt, the whole team fell apart. And then what happened to the Seattle Mariners, for God's sakes? That's a team you can't even name 3 players on their team, and then they went and almost made the playoffs. So it's interesting how baseball works. You don't have to have a team full of great players. You just have to have a team. So I would be proud to be a Red Sox fan that they did you very well for the season. They did very well for themselves. They played a good brand of baseball, and you had to go beat them. I mean, they didn't beat themselves. You had to go beat that team, and obviously not many teams did. So hats off to the Astros. I have been one that has always said over the last probably 2 seasons, prove me wrong, right? Because I'm a guy that sits here and says, when you know what pitch is coming, you can hit it. And if you don't know what pitch is coming, it makes it a lot harder. And up until this season, all of last season, and some of the stuff going even into until they got on a run here, they didn't hit the ball that well. But they finally got hot. They finally got hitting, maybe if they got healthy or something, or, maybe Altuve rolled over and decided he's going to hit again. But the whole point of it is they're a hard team to beat because you got to outscore them. And what we're finding out now is they can't pitch. So it's going to be interesting to see how it all plays out, whether they get to face the Dodgers or the Braves.
Well, I'll give you a little conspiracy theory, what I'm hearing, and it's all speculation. And Cora being Cora, rumor has it that he picked up on some signs in game 2 and 3, and just happened to be the 2 games that the Sox were smashing. And then in game 4, 5, and 6, the Astros changed up their signs. Now, initially it was that they were tipping pitches, but the conspiracy theory is, and again, this is not cheating. This is something that, is everyday baseball. If you can pick up signs, signals, or whatever, there's nothing. That's what they've been doing since the 1900s. So that was the conspiracy theory, that Cora picked up on some stuff And it's funny, back a handful of years ago, it was the Apple Watch, and the Sox were MLB came down with them on the Apple Watch. Now everyone's got the iPads, and I don't know if it was from the iPads or what it was. But again, I'm a proud Red Sox fan here. We got a lot of great teams in Boston, and I bleed Boston Red Sox. Something about baseball. I put it on the timeline last night. The summers go so much better when the Sox are winning. So I am really proud of them. They have some holes. It'll be interesting to see what they do. One of the big things is JD owns the player option, and it's $19 million. Okay. And I would love for him to walk. Please, JD, if you're listening to the show, please go test that free agent market. There's a guy out there named Castellanos that's available. I will pull him in there so quick and replace your butt so quick. But anyways, quickly, we're going to move on to the Dodgers. Down 3-2. Mad Max's spot last night it breaks. Dead arm, can't go. And I woke up this morning and see that they're moving Walker Buehler in for the start tonight. And then if they get by, then I would assume they would start Urias, maybe be able to get an inning or two from Max. I don't know at this point. Again, I understand the thought process, all hands on deck, and managers saying, hey, this is his off day to go throw it, 30 pitches on the side. Why not get him in for an inning? And the high leverage, the gearing up to get ready, the lathered up, and then getting out there. Each pitch is an inning in my mind, and it's going to come back to bite them in the ass.
Well, it's funny how, again, baseball works where if we talked about this at the beginning of the series, one of the things we talked about was that the Braves were sitting there just waiting on the Dodgers to finish their series with the Giants. That series went 5, and they had to use Buehler and they had to use Scherzer all at the end. So they weren't able to start those guys right away in this series. So that put them behind the 8 ball a little bit. Now, I always like it when the best players are still available to play and the best teams are at the end. I don't like it when, you've got some team that, won 80 games or 82 games and they're 500 on the season and somehow they make it to this far in the playoffs. I like it when the best teams are there and the best teams iron it out. And, when you have a champion at the end, you got to really champion a baseball. And I'm not saying that the Braves aren't going to be that. I mean, they won over 90 games. They deserve to be where they are. But I think it would be a shame if at somehow, some way, 2 baseball teams, one won 107 games, one won 106 games, and neither one are in the World Series. I think that would be something that would be a little distasteful. That being said, that doesn't take anything away from the Braves. The Braves at the end of the year, I think they won something like 19 out of 23 games or something like that. And deserve to be where they are. And they got on a hot run, and that's what you need to be. You need to be hot going into these playoffs. Dodgers obviously are not that. However, having said that, again, this is not about pitching per se. We talked about the Yankees and the Yankees being in a spot where, they had to pitch. And they did. They couldn't hit. I'm looking at some data here that talks about the playoffs so far. And what I did was I looked it up in runners in scoring position. So the league batting average is about 241 for the season. The Los Angeles Dodgers are batting 235 and the Atlanta Braves 246. So nothing real special there. Where things change a little bit is the number of opportunities. So the Dodgers have 85 at-bats with runners in scoring position. The Braves have 57. So then you want to turn around and look at it from a perspective of RBIs. Well, that means, okay, they drove in the run or runs. The Dodgers 28, the Braves 22. So it's almost, what is that, 20? It's almost 30. So 28. The Braves have 28 less at-bats with runners in scoring position and only 6 less runs. So it tells me that the Dodgers aren't hitting the way the Dodgers need to hit to win. Their pitching is holding them in there. The Astros, by the way, just so that you might get a little kick out of this, the Astros are batting .360 with runners in scoring position, and they have 52 RBIs and only 89 at-bats. So they almost have 60. They almost have 2/3 of runs scored in the at-bats that they have. So that tells you how they're winning. They're winning when they get guys on base, they knock them in. And that's what baseball's about. Nobody can tell me, because I'm a new school stats guy, but there's nothing more important than having the guy on your team that's going to drive in the runs. You got to have the RBI guys. And if you don't have them, think about the Dodgers. Max Muncy, right? He's an RBI guy. He's not there. Justin Turner, an RBI guy. He's not going to be there either. So what are they doing? They're counting on the catcher to drive in the runs. And I'm sure he does on an occasion, but they need guys that are going to drive in runs. And I think it's going to be it's going to be Braves, and I think it's going to be Astros, and I don't think anybody's going to watch it because of that.
Well, we'll have all week to go over that. Bueller opened up at 160, I think it was, and he's getting there's some sharp money coming in on the Braves. We were on the Red Sox, the Astros in Game 5 and Game 6. We had a series ticket on the Red Sox plus 125, so we netted plus 1 unit on the series. We're on a nice 15-4 run the last 2 weeks, so we're hitting on all cylinders here. All the listeners, people watching right now, this is the Bible, or one of the Bibles that we use here at ECSI. This is straight from Don Best. This is your menu for today in NCAAF. We have some games being kicked off at noon. It's a card that I think there's a lot of landmines this week, Scotty. We have an email subscriber list that we send out about 25,000 emails out on Thursday, Saturday, Sunday, and Monday, and give out a free play. We're on an amazing 11-2 run. We've won 8 in a row, and had the Browns on Thursday. And I'll be honest, everyone listening here, I gave out Louisville minus 5.5. And I have to write these up on Tuesday or Wednesday. And the line, I woke up this morning, it's down to 4.5 in some shops. So I'm a little nervous there. There's some good buyback on Boston College. But the board is yours, Scotty. Tell everyone what you're seeing, why you're seeing. Maybe you can get them to the window for a couple noon or 1, 2, 3 o'clock games.
Well, let's start with what I call the noonish games, which means anything that starts between, say 12 o'clock and 2 o'clock. And I made 2 plays today, and I think I'm going to be going against the grain on one of them. But the first play that I did is I went into the MAC today, and I bet on Ohio. So that is 352 is the window number. I bet on Ohio. Ohio is +5. They're playing against Kent State. Those are 2 Ohio schools. They're sort of rivals with each other, I guess, a little bit. But EPA-wise, Kent State ranks 110th. And when you look at EPA, there's only 130 teams that are ranked total. And being 110 out of 130 is probably not real good. And Ohio, they rank 85th. Where the biggest difference is on offense. So Ohio ranks 56th on offense and Kent State 99. Ohio likes to run the ball, and they're number 5 in the country on EPA running the football. And defensively, Kent State is 111 against the run. So I like the matchup. I like the idea that the coach Solich is better than anybody else that they got in Kent State land. So I'll take the 5 points in Ohio against Kent State today. And then the other one is kind of the one I think I'm going against the grain on, and that is number 380, and that is going to end up being Texas Tech today. And when I bet it, it was a pick 'em, but I think it's not a pick 'em anymore. I think they're getting 1 point. But I bet Texas Tech getting as a pick 'em. They're +1 now, I think. Is that what you see? +1 somewhere on Texas Tech?
They opened up -1. I got a 50-50 split. Now I'm seeing 1 at Pinnacle Jazz. Let me see where I got across the Vegas Strip. At South Point, Westgate, William Hill is back to a pick 'em. So if you shop around, you can get +1. Yes.
Yep, I got them at a pick 'em, and I'm looking at that game, and I'm going, okay, Texas Tech ranks 28th in EPA, Kansas State 64th. And again, we're talking about 2 different things here on offense. Texas Tech is ranked 7th in the country on offense. They rank 10th in the country passing the ball. And they're going up against a defense that ranks 97th in the country and 114th against the pass. So I like the idea here that the matchup works for the offense, for an offense that is clicking and working on all cylinders. The offense for Kansas State ranks 42nd. They're going against the 99th best defense in the country. So neither one of these teams play defense, but their big prowess is going to be running the football. They rank 49th against the run or running. So I kind of like the idea that Texas Tech's going to be able to throw, and if they can throw the ball pretty much at will here, protect the quarterback, I think that they're going to score some points. And I'm okay to take the home pick 'em dog, whatever you want to call them, in this game. Those are the only 2 plays I made at noon. I had a couple other ones I didn't play. I kind of like Army. I kind of like Eastern Michigan. Those games, I didn't play those 2, but I only played Ohio. I only played Texas Tech. My 3:00-ish games, I had 2 of those. I like LSU today. And when I played it, it was they're +9. Now it's +7.5, I think. I don't think it's hit 7. I don't want you to play it if it's at 7. Play it as long as you're getting more than 7. That should be.
You're getting 8s all across the Vegas Strip, and at Circa right now, our buddy Jeff Benson. Derek, hello, good morning. You can get 8.5 at the Circa.
There you go. I got it at 9. The reason I like that game is I think these 2 teams are way more even, meaning that EPA for Mississippi is 33rd. EPA for LSU is 36th. The offense for Mississippi ranks 6th. The offense for LSU ranks 14th, and neither one of them can tackle anybody, so their defenses are both bad. So it's going to be a matter of who scores the most points. And if you're going to give me a game where they can kind of go up and down the field, the Ogeron thing, he's getting ready to leave and all that stuff, I kind of like the idea here that you can take the points with a team that's pretty much even in that matchup. And then the other one that I like is, again, I think the ticket number is 364, and it's a little bit different here. It's Houston against East Carolina today. I got them at 13.5. I think it's either 13.5 or 14 right now.
13.5 across the Vegas Strip.
I like that one. And the reason I like that again is there's a huge mismatch here. Houston ranks 6th in the country on EPA and East Carolina 86. East Carolina's got a pretty bad defense. Houston's got a decent offense. So they rank 29th on offense. And East Carolina ranks 88th on defense. But Houston nobody really, I don't think, understands what makes that team work. They rank 5th in EPA in the country on defense. So East Carolina's got to score to keep up with that 13.5 number. And if they don't score very many points, then I think Houston rolls in this game and covers the 13.5 at home. So those are my 4 picks that'll take you up to 7 o'clock.
All right. 1 second here. Let's get out of this screen for everyone. So what we try to do here basically is just not give you not just the games, but the whys. Again, we're always here trying to educate. We entertain once in a while, a few chuckles. But our job is to tell you why. And we don't use the what have you done for me lately numbers, the past trends, the angles, anything like that. We're strictly numbers here. Myself and Scott come at them in 2 different ways. And usually when we're on the same game, then that's a lookout. And it's kind of funny how we get to that same game. But, in this business here, for us especially, it's not the names on the back of the shirts. It's not the logos. Again, we're strictly numbers here. Myself reading the market, and Scotty comes up with amazing numbers and gives you facts and reasons why. And he's got more abbreviations than a dictionary. I have to ask him at the end of the show, what? So again, anyone with questions, Scotty at Webby20MLB on Twitter, myself at EC Sports Invest. Follow us. We'll follow you back. The DMs are wide open. We'll answer any question that you have. Email us at eastcoastsportsinvestors@gmail.com. From myself and Scott, we wish you the best of luck today. Potentially could be back later this afternoon, early this evening, for the nightcap. Maybe break down the Dodger games more, tell you guys where that number is going. But always remember this: if you're wagering and investing today, always use your head, not your heart. If you have a problem, pick up that phone. There's an 800 number out there. Reach out to someone. Why? Because we care. In our lane here, it's a marathon. It's a daily grind. We're not scratch tickets. You're not going to, get rich quick. We want you here, not just today, tomorrow, next week, next month. We want you here for 22 and beyond. So wishing everyone a blessed day. Best of luck with your games. Don't get over your ski tips, please. And we potentially could see you later this afternoon.